You didn't have kids to ignore them or to be a crappy, half-hearted dad. You wanted to have kids to love them, to enjoy them. That's why the moment you saw that little baby, when you had him or her, it was like the greatest experience ever. And yet when they grow and develop, so many of us become distracted by all these other important things rather than the one thing that we know matters the most, our kids. So why does that happen, and how do we stop it from happening? That's what this video is all about. Welcome back, everybody. Andrew Love is in the house, and here at Dadaptation, the whole point of this is to help you stop being so overwhelmed, so chaotic in your own life that you can't enjoy the one thing that matters most, which is your family. That is your place in the universe. So I travel so much, it's crazy. And right now, I'm in Canada where I was born. I live in the US, but we travel all over the world. And I realized that I was praying with my kids last night before bed. And I was just saying, like, we don't have a home. My home is wherever my family is. And that is the greatest feeling in the world, is because we could be anywhere. And I feel like I have a place in the universe because of them. And it's not just because I produced life, because I didn't even do that much. I just had the fun part. My wife did the whole carrying the baby and delivery and all that, but it was everything that happened after. It's how much you get in terms of dividends when you invest in your family. That's the spice of life. And you don't get that when you're stressed out of your mind. You don't get that when you're avoiding them. All you get is guilt and shame and all the negative stuff. So this is all about how to invest in your kids and how to make time for them, okay? Because if not, you'll just be filled with regrets. So in terms of like being present, as nobody chooses like, okay, today I'm gonna completely ignore my kids and make them long for me, not unless you're some twisted, sinister mister. But you know, we do it little by little. The drift is very real, right? We disconnect little by little by pulling out our phones, by having another meeting, by letting our work life kind of take over and eclipse our home life. And you're showing them these little signals, these subtle signals, sometimes not so subtle, that other things are more important than them, and they feel it, and they feel it. The more they feel it, the more that they disconnect and feel unimportant. Or let's say you're just always exhausted around them, and you're not giving them your very best. You're giving them your leftover energy. You're stressed out. You're giving them your stress and all this negative stuff rather than the positive stuff. And so the question is, if you ignore your kids or you give them this leftover energy throughout their formative years, what are the odds that they're gonna give you their very best when you're older? And that is the most fragile time of your life, when you need dependence. Do you want people that you pay to care about you, like living in a nursing home? Or do you want your kids to actually long for you because they love you so much because of the seeds that were sown when they were young? That is where the dividends really come into play. Okay, so the drift starts, you know, the drifting away from them is like you're there, but you're not there, right? And so you're at home, but your attention is, you're thinking about other stuff. And when they're talking to you, they don't feel that you really care. And that's just so important for kids. Kids get really irritable if they're trying to communicate something with you, but you don't hear them, you don't receive them. That means that they're just kind of like, they have nowhere to put themselves. They have nobody to be themselves in front of and to be reciprocated, like I matter. We all need to feel that we matter. And you are supposed to be the first stop, the first line of defense, the first line of love. You and your spouse, right? But when you're always distracted and distant, you're just showing them very clearly, you don't matter as much as this thing over here. That's why it doesn't mean all day, every day. It's not about being obsessed. I know parents that are like, their whole life is like, oh, little Jimmy, you know, like they become obsessed and micromanage their kids. No, you don't, that's not it. It's about choosing, being intentional that when I'm with my family, I'm with my family. I'm all in, right? So there's a huge difference between a regulated child and a chaotic child. And I would say when you go around, most kids are not regulated well. They don't know how to deal with their emotions. When they get hit with an emotion, they get overwhelmed, and then they're just kind of like all over the place. So angry kids lashing out, so many kids with anxiety. How are they supposed to overcome anxiety? By plugging into your calm energy. They regulate by being with a calm person. Otherwise, they become chaotic people. All of these diagnoses, I don't want to get into that, but so much of it, if you study Gabor Mate, ADHD, it's crazy. Because his hypothesis as a psychologist and addiction specialist and trauma specialist is that ADHD is actually the response to being overwhelmed with emotion. It's not a neurological disorder or anything like that. It's just a protection, a way to protect yourself. When you're young and you have all these emotions and you don't want to focus on them because they're scary or they're confusing, and you don't have a parent to help you process these emotions, then you just don't focus on them. You just kind of scatter your energy to try to just get through a day. And that creates this hyper unfocused mind and heart. So everything's in a state of chaos. We can give our kids the gift of enjoying this life by being a presence of love, of calm, of support, sometimes disciplining them too when they're kind of going off into some weird space, bringing them back. This is a gift that we give only when we're present. So this is not about feeling guilty, okay? You have to understand that you're not being a bad dad. It just means that you're not rising to the challenge, right? When we're overwhelmed, and trust me, I've been there, like holy Moses, I've been there for long stretches of time, but this is what the adaptation is about. I have figured it out, and now I can process overwhelm and get back to my job of being a father and a husband at a very high level. But if you're overwhelmed, it's not because you're a bad person. It's because you just are running on the red, and you don't have the systems in place. You don't have the processes to deal with your emotions, and so you're like tweaking, and then when you come home, your kids are tweaking, and then that just pushes you over the edge, and then now you just feel guilty. You just are just laden with guilt, right? But when we do that, when we don't take the time to be more intentional, we don't get put in the reps of being a good father, then our children develop this story in their head that my dad doesn't see me, he doesn't care about me, he doesn't understand me. How many teenagers say stuff like, "You don't understand me, Dad"? Well, that's because you probably don't understand them because you don't put in the time. There's so many parents that want to change the kid's behavior without ever knowing the kid. Look at that. What are the odds that that's going to turn out well? You just change the behavior, but you don't understand why they're doing that. It's like trying to change an addict stop doing heroin without understanding why they do it in the first place. They'll just swap heroin out with something else, right? This is what addiction is. And this is what they're left with because they're immature unless you help them to develop the proclivities to get through life, right? So, dads fall into this trap because they're running on fumes, because your schedule is overbooked. You're just doing too many things. And there's no margin. There's no breathing room in your life. It's just like you're running, you're sprinting. And then you wonder why. I ask so many guys, like, why do you work so hard? Because I need money. Why do you need so much money? Because I got a mortgage. Why do you have a mortgage? Because we need a home. Why do you need a home? Well, because of course we got to live somewhere. Do you have to live in a place that's that big? How much of your house do you use? And you start to ask more questions. You realize that people are just living an unsustainable life that they can never enjoy based on some idea that if they get enough external things in place, then they can internally feel good about themselves, rather than setting up your life, optimizing your life for enjoyment and fulfillment. You don't need as much money as you think you do. I used to make hardly any money, and that's when our family was doing great. Trust me, it's never the case that you need as much money as you think you are. There's always, if you optimize for meaning and for connection and for fulfillment, the other stuff comes into place. If you just hope connection's gonna happen with your kids, you're living a lottery mindset. It's never going to happen that way. You got to make time. Okay. Distractions, you know how much, if you say, I don't have time to meet with my kids, to talk with my kids, look at your phone. Look at how much screen time you've been on your phone and your computer combined. Cut that in half, and all of a sudden you have 4 hours a week to hang out with your kid, 5, 10. You know, the average person is on their devices for at least 8 hours a day now, at least in the developed world where there's good Wi-Fi. And of course, there's a bunch of different things that you're doing on there, banking, podcasts, work. But give me a break. You can find time. When you start to prioritize your family, time just appears. You start to develop more time and attention. It's amazing. It's a miracle. So overload is a real thing. And a lot of times our exhaustion is the consequence. So we have too much on the go. Not enough systems, so we're overwhelmed, we're exhausted, and we're like, I don't know what to do. Well, you can change things up, okay? So your kids, first of all, they don't need you to be a perfect dad. They need you to invest and put in the reps. They need to know that you care, not because you say so, because you show so, right? So even when you're tired, to do the things, you know? When your kids ask you to do something. The other day, I was just doing so many things, and my kid came out of nowhere and he's like, I need you to come here. And I was like, why? He's like, because I need you. I was like, yeah, okay. I got it. How often am I going to have a little kid in my house that says, I need you to help me go to the bathroom, go get changed, whatever? It's an honor. Yes. Screw everything else. Let's do this, right? Even when you're heavy, when you're depressed or whatever, showing up, putting in the reps, you're showing them that it's possible to keep going, right? Even without words, even if nobody acknowledges you, even if they don't know how to ask, just to be there. When you do this day in and day out, they will trust you. They will come to you. They'll ask you questions. They'll rely on you. And that is the spice of life. Okay? So I just want to suggest that, you know, I was super overwhelmed back in 2017 and 18. And then since that time, I went through that dark tunnel. You know, that dark tunnel where nothing seems like it's working out, but you see a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel. And I just went through it. I didn't complain. I just figured it out. I learned how to meditate. I learned how to regulate myself. And I went from somebody who was always stressed out and snapping at my family and then feeling terrible about myself to somebody who can just enjoy the ride. And it was this moment of clarity of looking at my kids, especially when they're sleeping, and being like, look how beautiful they are. How could I ever desecrate our relationship by being too busy or too stressed out to just love them? And that was a turning point when I was like, yes, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And that means prioritizing my life. It could mean making less money. It could mean a lot of stuff. That stuff doesn't matter nearly as much as, like, right here, we're on vacation. We're visiting family. We're in a 1-bedroom condo. There's 5 of us. We're having the best time ever in this condo. We don't need a penthouse suite. I mean, we have been in nice places too, and that's fine too, but we don't need it by any stretch. We're having such a good time in a teeny tiny apartment. I'd clock this at about 600 square feet. We haven't gotten into any fights. There's no space issues. We're just efficient. It's so much fun, right? So you don't need as much money or as much space or whatever in order to enjoy each other, okay? It's just prioritizing each other. So build a legacy of presence. So that means putting in the reps. What I'm saying is put it in your calendar. I'm going to spend this time with my family where I'm all in, my phone's off, no distractions. I'm with my kids for this thing, for that thing. Put it in the schedule. Talk to them about it. Make them feel like the most important people in the world and say, this is your time. I'm here for you. Be their coach. Be there. I don't know, hear them out. Right? Just like listen to them, be interested in them, ask them questions, be hyper, be calm, be whatever is needed of you, and just watch what happens when you start to do this as a priority. Every single week, I would say every single day, prioritize this, even if it's like bedtime, whatever it is. For me, I want the maxi package. I want the most. So I'm all in as much time as possible. We usually eat 3 meals a day together. Like I've created my life so that I can do this life with them. That doesn't need to be everybody. You could just be certain meals, figure it out, but just put it in the calendar for yourself and for them and be like, this is your time. This is our time. Okay. And take it more seriously than any meeting with any potential highfalutin client or your boss or whatever. Your kids are much more important than that. Your wife is more important than any of those people. Okay. So they don't need perfect. They need you to be present. And every day is a new chance to get better and better and better. When you invest over time, the compounding effect kicks in and it gets easier and it gets more fluid and more enjoyable. In the beginning, it's going to feel like work. You're going to start to think in the back of your head, oh, but I got all these other things. Cut those things. Let them fly away. Just focus on your kids. Best investment you can make with your energy, with your time. I hope this is helpful, guys. If you need any help, that's what I'm here for. Dadaptation, I'm creating a world here which will help you to get rid of all this overwhelm that's blocking you from enjoying your family, which is the most important thing that you could ever do with your time, energy, and attention. Okay? Reach out if you need anything at all.